All right, so we take a look at multiples, and let's take a look at factors. What are factors? Well, factors are integers which can multiply together to get the number, or I'm going to say value again. Okay, so factors are integers which we can multiply together to get the value. Okay, now that means that we're looking for, let's imagine that we're trying to find factors of 10, which we'll do here in just a little bit. Okay, we're going to be looking for what are some numbers that we can multiply together to get 10. Okay, so for what numbers, all right, here, so here we're looking for multiples. For what numbers would they have a multiple of 10 in there somewhere? Now, factors, okay, can be found in pairs. And that's where we're going to do that because we always need two numbers to multiply together to get the value. Now, the only case there is if we have a perfect square and we have the same number multiplied twice to find that. And we'll probably come up with an example somewhere along the line. Okay. Now, unlike multiples, there are a finite. Okay, finite means just one amount. Okay, so it's not, forever and ever. It's just one. Okay, or limited. Sorry, it's not one. It's a limited number. There are a finite number of factors of any value. Okay, and so we have to understand that there's a finite number. There's going to be a set number, but sometimes that number is going to be a little bit bigger than we might assume. So let's find all the factors of 10. Okay, and I'm going to take a look at a way that I would do it, okay, or how I would kind of come up with that. There are other ways as well. So if we take a look at 10, and I'm going to put it there with a semicolon there. There's two ways, and I'll look at both these ways here. Number one is what numbers are divisible into 10. Okay, so 10 divided by what? What can we do to get a perfect number? Okay, or a nice number. So doing that way there, if we do 10 divided by 1, well, that works because we get 10. 10 divided by 2, that works, we get 5. 10 divided by 3 does not work because we get a decimal. Okay, and so we can kind of use it that way there. So if we divide it by 1, okay, now again, we're just looking for ones that work. Divided by 1, we get 10. So 10 is also a factor. Okay, so 1 and 10 are both factors. This is a pair right here. Okay, and the other one that we saw there, 10 divided by 2 was 5. So 2 and 5, and these are a pair. And then we can keep trying. Now you might understand that this is not going to work at all, but we can do 10 divided by 3. That doesn't work, okay, because that gives us a decimal. And you'll notice that this decimal here is very close to that 3. Okay, they're almost the exact same number, which means that that's as far as we go. 4 is not going to work. Okay, it kind of tells us, oh, there we go, I need to divide, not multiply. Okay, 4, we get 2.5. Now that number is below what we started with, so we know there's no other values that are going to work. So these are our factors of 10, and we're going to get into looking at negatives as well. We can also use negatives for 10. We could do -1, -2, -5, and -10. So these would both be factors of 10. For the time being, we're just going to look at the positives. Just look at the positive factors. So let's determine the factors of the following numbers. Let's look at 24. Well, 1 is a factor of 24, and so is 24, because 1 times 24 gives us 24. Maybe you can try along at home here, but can we divide 24 by 2? You betcha we can, and that gives us 12. 3 works as well and gives us 8. 4 works and gives us 6. Now, does 5 work? Nope, 5 doesn't work. And the next number is 6, and because that's already onto the, kind of our back side here, okay, we know that we've done enough. So it's 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. Those ones all match up together. Okay. We can have bigger numbers as well, and sometimes bigger numbers will have more factors, and sometimes they'll have less factors. Okay, it all depends on the number. 1 is always going to work as well as the number itself. So 1 and 132 are going to work. Okay, this is an even number, so we know we can divide it by 2. And if we divide it by 2, we get 66. Now you can use a calculator for this. I'm using a master copy of notes here, so don't worry, you don't have to just memorize all these. Okay, 132 divided by 3. If we add up all the numbers in 132, so 1 plus 3 plus 2, it gives us 6, which is divisible by 3. So we know that 132 is also divisible by 3, and that'll be 44. Okay. Again, going off of notes here, 4 works as well and gives us 33. Okay. 5 does not work, so we'll skip that. 6 does work. Okay, so 6 works and gives us 22. And 11, so 7, 8, 9, and 10 don't work, but 11 does and is 12. And now again, we've gotten towards the same number. We're getting into the middle there. So in other words, we know that we are done. Okay, we can't go, none of the ones in between here are going to work, and nothing in between here is going to work. They're all going to be decimals if we do that. So this would be our final copy here.